Okay, it is time for the evidence review from the investigation of Venfort Hall on May 1st, 2021. I have photos, EVPs, audio, and a few videos to share. To begin, I'm going to start with the photos that were captured. Okay, the first photo that I took was on the second floor, pointing up to the third floor. So it was the third floor staircase where they say a lot of strange things are caught. Now, in this first photo, there's nothing that looks strange. And then just like about 2 seconds later, I snapped another photo and caught this. Now, because there's a weird little circle here, I don't know if there was somehow fog or something on the lens of my camera, but because I had just taken this photo 2 seconds before I took this one, I decided to share it. And I should mention that in both of these photos, I did not have the flash on my camera. So that was weird. The next two photos were taken around 12:05 a.m. as we were leaving Venfort Hall. This one just looks like, okay, well, first of all, these lights up here are probably from the flash on my camera, but this right here looks weird. This whole area here looks weird. This, I don't know what the, actually, no, that's nothing. And this little yellow light looked weird. So, just a few things. Maybe nothing paranormal, but I just thought it was interesting to share. And then a few seconds later, I caught what definitely looks like some kind of strange energy-like substances. So, yep. I'll go back to the last one, and then this one. Now, I'm definitely not saying that it's paranormal. I just can't explain it, so that's why I'm showing them. Okay, and for the last two pictures. This picture I took from the main area of the mansion, looking up at the grand staircase. Now, in this photo, it's hard to see, but I thought I noticed something strange right here. So I zoomed in and stuff, and to me, if you look kind of over here and up here, it looks like somebody is, like a spirit is standing there behind the whatever you would call this. So let me go back, show you. See, it looks like like a white orb or an apparition or something is standing there. Now, I wouldn't even show this because at first I assumed it was it wasn't anything. But the strange part is there have been countless reports of people saying they stood down here and looked up and saw somebody up on the second floor staring at them. So that's why when I saw that, I was like, maybe that is something paranormal after all. So, alright, that's it for the photos. Now I'm going to share some of the videos that were caught. Actually, the only video file with definite strange activity was the one where Chris and I were just walking around, filming things, and yeah, I'll just open up that video file now. The first interesting part was about 8 minutes in, where Chris begins talking about alcohol. At one point, he asks if he can, if the spirit wants some alcohol, and you'll hear what sounds like a very low and fast sure. So when I get to that point, I'll play it a few times.
Do we have some alcohol? Do you like alcohol?
EVP recording.
Oh, look.
In the second floor of Venfort, in the green room.
Do you like alcohol? Alcohol is really good.
In a room we're not probably supposed to be in.
I think we're okay.
So I'm just going to walk around a bit, do a quick EVP session.
You want me to pour your cup of alcohol?
I'm sorry if I'm being rude. Now, I'm not sure if you caught that. I'm going to play it a few more times. It's very low, so you have to really... It's helpful if you have headphones in when you're listening to it.
You want me to pour your cup of alcohol?
I'm sorry. Right there, that thing that says, sure, like that. I'll play it a few more times. I'm just going to walk around a bit, do a quick EVP session.
You want me to pour your cup of alcohol?
I'm sorry. So that was that one. Okay, the second part was where Chris was in the blue room. There's this voice that comes out, and okay, it wouldn't have been odd at all, except for the fact that he and I were the only two people up on the second floor at that time, and it was not me who was speaking. It sounds like something like it's the exact same, and then the rest of it I can't make out.
That's me. That's me. That's me.
It sounds weird, but it almost sounds like that's the exact same cupcakes or something like that. So, and the third part here, as Chris was filming one of the mirrors in that room, the camera just for a few seconds turned a shade of blue, and during the entire investigation that never happened, like one other time. So definitely worth showing. I'm not sure, of course, if it's paranormal, but
Slowly. Not too hard.
see that right there?
Slowly. Not too hard. Slowly. Not too hard.
And that's really all for the video footage. Now for the real interesting parts, all the EVPs and audio phenomena that was captured. Okay, the first EVP was caught in the dining room. It was silent at the time, and you can hear what sounds like someone or something going like that. I'll play it a few times because it's kind of faint. Alright, there's that one. And the second EVP from the dining room is not an actual EVP. It was actually something that was caught during the spirit box session, but it was too good to not show here.
How many spirits are in this room with us?
Five. Yep. Five. Yep.
Okay, the third one was also from the dining room. Now, at first, you'll hear what sounds like a woman, and then the strangest thing happened. Okay, I had been recording on my phone for like about the entire time. It was about 5 hours or so, and what happened here only happened this one time. So once you hear the woman talking, my audio just goes completely dead for about 15 seconds. So I'll play that right now. And just like that, it just goes dead for about 15, maybe 20 seconds, and then comes right back on like nothing had happened. Wait for it. And that was it. So definitely weird. Like I said, that was the only time during the entire investigation that happened. Okay, the next EVP requires a little explanation. So there was a sorry. There was a group in the 1970s that occupied Venfort Hall. They were known as the Bible Speaks. They were involved in some pretty not so nice things. So at one point here, one of the investigators asks, "Are you from Bible Speaks?" A few seconds later, you'll hear someone, I think it was Chris, go like, and then right after, in this very low voice, it sounds to me like someone says, Amen. So I'm going to play that a few times because at first it's hard to make it out.
Is there anyone here from Bible Speaks? 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 Bible Speaks?
So I'm not sure if you were able to hear that, but. And the last audio from the dining room was a voice coming through the spirit box saying, Susie.
Come on in.
Yeah, it did. Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Moving on now, the next few EVPs are captured the next few EVPs were captured in the library, which was one of the most active rooms in the entire place. Okay. The first EVP sounds like a young child or maybe a young woman going, yoo-hoo, like that. Oh, go back. Now, because it sounded more distant, I don't think it was anyone who was in the room, so that's why I chose to add it. The next EVP, so as we were all sitting there, the lights in the room kept going out one by one. So one of the people in the room asked who was turning off all the lights, and as soon as he is done speaking, you'll hear a male say me like that, and that was definitely not someone who was currently in the room. So
I don't have a time. Who else? Who's turning out the light? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else?
so I hope you were able to hear that. And the third EVP in the library, to me it sounded like somebody was asking who like that, but the reason I added it here was because it has now, as someone who's listened to a lot of EVPs, many of them have this strange, almost, I don't know how to explain it, like this almost electronic, robotic sound to them. And when I heard this person here ask who, it sounded really unnatural, and I think you'll be able to understand what I'm saying. It just didn't sound like somebody in the room. It sounded like it was coming from somewhere else. The next EVP, it sounded like a young child crying. You can actually hear it two different times, like two times, one after the other. So I'm gonna play that.
Tough crowd, George. Alright. Amazing. Tough crowd, George. Alright. Amazing. Alright. Amazing. Alright. Amazing.
It's kind of tough to hear because someone is talking at the same time, but it sounded like kind of like that. So hope you were able to hear that. And again, in the library, one of the investigators asks, "Is there a child spirit here?" And then about 10 seconds later, through the spirit box, you hear a child a child spirit saying, here. So,
Is there a child spirit here?
okay. And the last EVP from the library, the same investigator asks, is there someone else here? And at first you'll hear this strange popping sound, which I often capture right before a spirit will say something. It's something that, if you know a lot about EVPs, it's a lot of experts say that this popping sound happens because the spirits are trying to manipulate the technology. But right after the popping sound, you hear this raspy yes. I'm gonna play that right now. I'll play it a few times.
Is there someone else there? There?
So that was that. That was all the EVPs in the library. Okay. The next EVP comes from the gift shop. Now, Chris and I were the only ones in here, so, and we caught what sounds like a young child again. So,
Please, may that go to the couch again one more time? Please, the couch again one more time? Please, couch again one more time? Please, couch again one more time? Please.
I wasn't able to make out what the young child was saying, but maybe you will be able to. Okay, the next few audio files I recorded contain no EVPs or strange audio. So the next one here was actually taken about 2.5 hours later. We had gone up to the second floor to what they call Sarah's room. Literally, the second I turn the recorder on, it sounds like a woman is speaking, and it sounds to me like she's saying either it's scary or he's scary. No one was talking at this time, so.
EVP recordings.
That sound right. Of course, after that was me saying EVP recording in Sarah's room. But literally the second I turned it on, I'll play that a few more times. I was like shocked when I first opened that file, and I was like, what the hell? Because I obviously would not have begun to talk if someone else in the room was speaking. So there was no one at that time that was speaking. Okay, and the next two EVPs were captured in the nursery. This I don't even know if it's an EVP or not, but it sounded weird. Sounds like maybe a young child again. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not saying this is no, I'm just not sure what it was. So, yeah. And the second one was captured about 30 seconds after that last one. You'll hear some of the people in the room laughing, and then right after that, you'll hear what sounds like a small crying. Or at least that's what I thought. It's very light. It's almost impossible to hear without headphones. I'm trying to isolate that. Not the sound of the person laughing, but that soft sound right after that. But that was it in the nursery. Alright, the next two EVPs were captured in the billiards room. One of the women in the room asks who's here with us right now, and to me it sounded like a cry or a scream.
Who's here with us right now? Who's here with us right now?
Yep, that one too is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, and the last one here is actually not an EVP. The paranormal investigator was using a device called a Phasmobox, which basically scans frequencies and allows the spirits to communicate more effectively. But the reason I'm choosing to add this part in is because at the time, even though people heard it, nobody really made, nobody seemed to comment on it. And I thought it was interesting because when I played it back, it sounded like a young child saying, "He hurt me." Oh, I'll play that right now.
Who are you? What do you have to tell us?
Now, that ties into the stories from the 1970s where the people who, conducted that church group that I mentioned and before, they did some pretty nasty, stuff. And one of the spirits who has communicated in the past actually mentioned things related to sexual assaults and that type of thing. So that leads into the last EVP that I captured was in George's room on the second floor. George's room was the creepiest room in the entire place. That's the room where, if you go back and watch the videos I posted on YouTube, that's the room where they were using the Estes method. So during this EVP here, the paranormal investigator is actually beginning to talk about that Bible the Bible people, excuse me, from the 1970s, and you hear a very loud hiss, like somebody was angry. And when I heard this the first time with my headphones turned all the way up, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. So here's that, and this is the final EVP. I'm actually going to play the previous 20 seconds or so before that, because the people in the room were actually talking about the history of the place, including the reported claims of sexual assault. This is really loud, so be prepared.
Very disturbing things, and when I listen to that stuff, it just broke my heart. Being a little girl that does that. What's that?
Is Steven still here?
What's that?
Is Steven still?
Broke my heart.
Play that a few more times.
What's that? What's that? What's that?
Is Steven?
And that was it. Yep, so I want to thank everybody for watching. If you like this video, please leave a comment. And as always, follow my channel and follow Bulk Hogan's channel for the latest paranormal videos, because I'm sure we're going to be investigating more places pretty soon. Thank you.